One of our clients went from invisible in AI search to the second most mentioned in their category in 90 days. Another saw ChatGPT brand mentions up 209% in the same framework. That second client, organic search, now drives more pipeline than paid at 88% lower cost. On citations, which are the actual links AI engines pull from, one client in the financial software space is cited more frequently than every single one of their direct competitors. Different industries, different company sizes, same result. This isn't just one lucky client. This is a repeatable system. And we know it's repeatable because we built it from our own proprietary research. We analyzed 200 B2B websites, 100 SaaS companies, and 100 fintech companies. We ran each one through 25 custom prompts in ChatGPT to measure what actually drives brand mentions and citations and AI-generated responses. The things that move the needle were specific, measurable, and in several cases, the opposite of what the GEO community is saying. Here are 7 tactics that came out of that research and that we're using with every one of our clients right now. Most B2B marketing teams think GEO is just SEO with a new name. So they do what they do for SEO. They write more content, build more links, and then just wait for the results. That's not how it works. The tactics that drive brand mentions and citations and AI-generated responses are specific, measurable, and in several cases completely different from what moves the needle in Google. And the gap between companies that know this and companies that don't is widening every month, which means the pipeline gap is widening too. Here are the 7 things we're seeing that are making the biggest difference right now. Tactic number 1, get your G2 profile in order. This one surprises most people, and the data is pretty striking because sites with a strong G2 rating get up to 671% more ChatGPT brand mentions versus sites with a poor G2 rating. According to the FinTech study, it showed that they get 95% more. Both stats are pretty significant and both point to the same conclusion. Your G2 profile is not just a sales asset, it's a GEO signal, and it's one of the most direct levers you have for getting your brand in front of buyers who are using AI to build vendor shortlists. AI models pull from G2, Capterra, TrustRadius, and Clutch constantly. These pages are heavily indexed, widely cited, and trusted by AI engines as third-party validation. If your profile is incomplete, your category tags are wrong, or your last review was from 2 years ago, you are leaving brand mentions on the table. And brand mentions lead to pipeline. Fill out every field, get fresh reviews, make sure your category tags reflect how buyers actually search for what you do. Treat this profile like a landing page because in AI search, that's effectively what it is. Tactic 2, build a Wikipedia presence. Wikipedia is one of the most heavily weighted sources in LLM training data. Wikipedia articles are structured, cited, and written to be factual. So they're exactly what AI models want to pull from. If your company qualifies for a Wikipedia page based on notability, which could be coverage in major publications, industry significance, verifiable milestones, get one. The lift in brand visibility is real and consistent across both of our studies. More visibility means more buyers seeing your brand before they even contact your sales team. If you don't yet qualify for Wikipedia, start with a Wikidata entry. It has a lower bar and it still helps establish machine-readable structured data about your organization. Now, this isn't a quick win. Wikipedia has editorial standards and your page needs to meet them. But if you're at the scale where you qualify, it's worth prioritizing. Tactic number 3, publish original research. Original research is the only content type that AI models cannot replicate. When you publish proprietary data, which could be a benchmark study, an industry survey, an analysis of your own data set, your brand becomes a source of record on that topic. Other sites reference it, journalists cite it, AI models cite it, and that compounds over time in a way that generic content never does. We've seen this firsthand with our own 200-site GEO research. That data gets cited in AI-generated responses about GEO strategy because no one else has it. The research you're watching me reference right now is the same asset driving inbound pipeline for us today. If you have proprietary data, that could be customer data, usage data, survey data, build a research asset around it. Even a focus study of 100 companies in your category, measuring something buyers care about, can become a citation source that outlasts anything else you can produce this year. One thing most teams miss is you can't just publish the research and move on. You have to promote it. A single strong study can fuel content for 3 months. Turn that research into blog posts, conference presentations, social posts, contributed articles. The research is just the seed, but promotion is what makes it compound. Tactic number 4, build comparison and alternative pages. When a buyer is evaluating software in 2026, they're asking AI questions like, what's the best alternative to competitor? Or your brand versus competitor, which is better for this use case. These are active consideration stage queries, and they're extremely common. If you don't have comparison and alternative pages, then you're letting your competitors own the narrative before your buyer ever even reaches you. And our data backs this up. Sites with comparison pages appeared in 62.1% of AI-generated responses. Sites without, only 48.2%. That's a 28.8% lift. And that lift shows up directly in pipeline because these are buyers deep in the evaluation process. And here's the thing about comparison prompts specifically. Buyers who are typing in competitor alternatives into AI are the highest intent prospects you will ever encounter. They've already decided to switch. They're just deciding where to go. What makes a good comparison page for GEO is it has to be genuinely useful. It can't just be a thinly veiled sales pitch. You have to cover real differentiators, address the actual evaluations criteria that buyers are using, include structured headings that match how buyers phrase the comparison question, and keep it updated. AI models pick up on content freshness. Tactic number 5, embed FAQ questions on your content pages. This one has a nuance worth understanding. In our research, pages with FAQ sections embedded within the content had 12.5 to 14.4% higher brand visibility. Standalone FAQ pages, which are dedicated pages that are just a list of questions, did not show the same correlation. The lift comes from embedding FAQs within your actual content pages, your product pages, your solution pages, your pillar blog posts. When a buyer asks AI a specific question and you have a clearly structured answer embedded on a relevant page, your chances of earning a brand mention go up. And brand mentions are what drive direct searches and inbound pipeline. The question should mirror how your buyers actually phrase things. Not what is our product, but what's the best category tool for specific use case? To get an idea of what exactly these use cases should be or what language your buyers are actually using or your prospects are actually using, pull from your sales call recordings, your Reddit threads, your review sites. The language your buyers actually use is what should show up in your FAQ headings. Tactic number 6, build domain authority. It still matters more than most people realize. Some people in the GEO community have been arguing that traditional SEO signals don't translate to AI search. Our data says otherwise. In Stratabeat's SaaS study, sites with high domain ratings from 61 to 100 earned 5.5 times more ChatGPT brand mentions than sites with domain ratings between 1 and 60. In fintech, 4.3 times more. The correlation is strong and consistent across both studies. What this means practically, the foundational SEO work, such as earning high-quality backlinks from trusted domains, building topical authority, getting coverage in reputable publications, still pays dividends even in AI search. GEO and SEO are not competing for your budget. You build both at the same time. This is also why earned media matters. Contributed articles in industry publications, analyst coverage, and partner pages, every one of those is both a backlink and an AI citation. And more citations means more buyers finding your brand before your competitors. Tactic number 7, track brand mentions and citations, not rankings. This one is less about a specific tactic and more about how you measure whether any of this is even working. And it's where we see the most confusion. If you're monitoring your rankings in ChatGPT, as in you're the first brand mentioned or the third in one of their lists, stop. AI-generated responses don't have stable rankings. Run the same prompt 5 minutes apart, and you'll get different results. Rand Fishkin and Datos ran a large study, and we've seen the same thing in our own testing. The position you appear in is not a reliable signal. What you should be tracking is brand mentions and citations. A brand mention is when an AI-generated response includes your brand name. A citation is when AI links to your actual website. These are 2 metrics that correlate with real business outcomes: direct searches, demo requests, inbound pipeline. When brand mentions go up, direct traffic follows. When direct traffic follows, pipeline follows. And here's something that's worth flagging. As AI search grows, your standard analytics may start looking worse, even when your strategy is actually working. Perplexity and Claude often don't pass referral data. Traffic that came from an AI recommendation often shows up as direct. Without a dedicated monitoring system, you have no visibility into whether GEO is actually driving that behavior. And that can make it difficult for you to make the case internally for continued investment. We run monitoring against our full prompt list multiple times a week, not monthly, not quarterly. The prompt list itself evolves at least quarterly, usually more, as buyer language and categories evolve. Consistency of monitoring is what gives you that signal, but a one-time check is going to tell you nothing. If you're trying to get pipeline from GEO, none of these tactics are going to work in isolation. The companies dominating AI search aren't dominating because they have one great G2 profile or that they have one comparison page. They're dominating because they've built a web of signals across their website and across the web that AI engines use to identify them as an authoritative brand in their category. And that authority shows up in pipeline. High domain authority means more brand mentions. Strong G2 presence means more citations from third-party sources. Original research means your brand becomes the source of record. Comparison pages capture buyers deep in the evaluation process. Embedded FAQs surface your content for specific buyer questions. A Wikipedia page reinforces entity recognition and AI training data. All of this works together. One more thing I'd add across all of this. Best of listicles are outperforming every other content type in terms of citations, not occasionally, consistently, across the board, across every client we're working with. Best category software for use case pages. If you're not building those, that's where I would start. Most of what I just talked you through is going somewhere that most agencies never go, which is deep in your buyer's actual language, their actual evaluation criteria, the actual questions they're asking before they ever contact your sales team. These are the tactics that are foundational to audience intelligence. That's what makes the difference between a GEO program that produces just a few brand mentions and one that consistently drives inbound pipeline. And that's what we build at Stratabeat. Each of our strategists only works with 2 to 4 clients, not 8 or 10 or sometimes 30. And that ratio is what makes this depth of work possible. So the reason that most B2B companies aren't doing all of this work isn't because it's hard. It's because most marketing teams still think that GEO is just SEO with a different name, and it's not. The tactics that drive brand mentions and citations in AI search are specific and measurable and in your control, and they lead somewhere real. They're not just vanity metrics. They're not rankings that shift every 5 minutes. They're real pipeline. Buyers who found your brand before your competitors who were ready to move. The question is whether you know where you currently stand and whether your competitors are beating you. If you want to find out, we offer a free GEO visibility audit. We'll show you exactly where your brand is being mentioned, where it's being cited, and whether your competitors are earning visibility where you're not. The link is in the description. See you next time.